is your top recommendation for selling professionals selling to the federal government agencies right now?
I'd say twofold answer to that. So one is something I think we've been doing always, which is you just have to get really good at aligning to the mission outcomes and finding the people who actually care about that in the agencies. I mean, we've sort of always done that, I think, in our careers, but I think candidly you've been able to get away with it, like not having to do that before. And I don't think that's not the case anymore. You have to be able to tie that back to true pain points and show actual return to sell something now. The other thing is just get really maniacally good at following where the money is. Again, something we've always done, but now more than ever, you really got to be good at that. So things like the big beautiful bill and seeing where the money is flowing. A good example of that's the Coast Guard, right? I mean, we're seeing the Coast Guard get money. They've never had money. I mean, now they have money, but they're going to things like cutters and aircrafts, and it's pretty easy to rule that out and say, well, that's cutters and aircrafts. I don't do that. I sell tech. But again, you got to get really good at figuring that out. Like in our case, there is a Docusign play there actually, because there will be procurement workflows and contracting workflows and HR onboarding. So kind of figuring that out and going, all right, here's where the money is, here's where I'm going to get creative, figure out how to tie that back, and then presenting that case to someone that matters. I mean, these are things we've always done, but you just have to be really, really good at it now.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the big mistakes. Again, y'all are leaders. What are some of the big mistakes that you've seen sellers to the federal government make?
Yeah, I mean, I like the multi-threading one a lot. One that I would say, maybe just flip into like the very first part of the sales process. Like, we lose most deals stage 0 to 1. I mean, that's where most deals die. So I would say a common mistake there is doing like the Docusign hammer or the Juniper hammer. I mean, customers don't care that you know your product. Like that's not the entryway. So I think getting really, really good at the discovery component, pairing that with being well researched ahead of time, and I would add to that. Historically, it's been hard to do that, but actually now there's kind of no excuse. I mean, I use Gemini every day. I mean, literally. I mean, it is open at my desk. It's one of the first things I use pretty much every morning. We have our Docusign instance of Gemini, so I can actually put things in there. I don't have to be careful about what I'm doing. And I mean, there's no reason to not be well researched at this point, actually. So I would add to that, no one cares about your product hammer. Like, don't lead with that. Try your best to not even say your product name if you can in the first few calls. I think that's a common mistake.
In person, right? In person. Lee, what are some practical ways sellers can create more in-person meetings or meaningful interactions with their government customers?
So it's harder. First off, I would not give up on just traditional outreach. Like I do think that, especially if you establish trust with folks over time, they will meet you. So, don't look for the magic button on that one. Like traditional outreach is still the answer, honestly. Other than that, I would say strategic workshops, trying to get groups together in person, the industry events that already exist, take advantage of those and try to do some small hosted roundtables at those type of events because they're already in place. So you have people there. So can you get some groups of folks together there? Small focus groups. Honestly, small focus groups are better anyway if you can get the right personas and that sort of thing in a room. Leverage the power of referrals. Ask others to get you that meeting. We're building relationships, and this is a small community. I mean, it is. So I would say use that. I would look at the co-host method as well. So, a Docusign plus AWS, our customers are looking for that. I mean, I can recall one of the best compliments I got from CBP, from Customs and Border Protection, a couple years ago was when I was at Salesforce at the time, but it was when AWS and Salesforce were talking about coming in together to solution. And they were like, wow, we've actually never had two different companies tell us that they're going to come in together. The co-host method is very good. Actually, it works well. And then the last thing I would say is just, I think you have to be really, really good at personal branding right now. And what I mean by that is be super active on LinkedIn, social, publish articles and documents and things of that nature. You kind of have to get a name. Like you're branded. Like people want to know who you are. You should be someone they know. And if you can accomplish those things, I think you'll find people will take the meeting.
What should sales professionals talk about and avoid, for that matter, when talking to federal government customers right now?
With your customer and had to be empathetic. So first of all, things to talk about. Again, I talked about mission outcomes already, so I'll kind of skip over that, but I'm hitting it again just because I honestly think that's the most important thing you can do. But you got to hit on cost efficiencies right now, efficiency in general. I would definitely be hyper-focused on anything around security, de-risking security. In the security space, I'd be looking at risk mitigation, period. Like, folks don't want to take big risks right now. So anything we're doing, you have to align that to citizen experience improvement, cost efficiencies, while also not putting them in a position where they feel like they're taking a big risk. So I would say, at least as far as solutioning goes, I would think along those lines. As for empathy, I mean, empathy is earned, and I think everyone in this room is probably going to do that a little bit differently. Number one, just be authentic to yourself. Like, don't try to be something you're not. I mean, it's just so obvious when someone's doing that. I can feel it, and it's just awkward. It's super awkward. So be authentic to who you are to figure that component out, but just know that that's learned. And mostly that's through asking, not telling. You know, it's a lot of really thoughtful questioning. I would be empathetic towards the complexity of what said person does or what they might be tasked with doing for the mission. These folks have complex jobs. They do. I mean, they're hard jobs in the government space. And I think being empathetic to that is important. But yeah, I would also, the last thing I would think about too is, be okay with starting small. I mean, SaaS has just changed that. I mean, the days of like, I'm not saying we can't sell big deals, but the days of going in there in stage one and selling, a whole bunch of shelfware up front, like it's just really hard to do that now. And the sellers that really push that, I don't think it goes over well. And a lot of customers may not tell you that up front because they might not have that type of personality where they're willing to tell you like, dude, back off. But you're putting them in an awkward position. Like, you have to be okay with understanding where they are and meeting them where they are, and be okay with starting there. You kind of have to be okay with your success being 12 to 18 months down the road. I mean, that really is true. So those are the few things I would add.
Just real briefly, what is something you do to prepare? And let's go Lee, John, and Mike.
Yeah, you hit on this, but I use the heck out of AI. I mean, Gemini, ChatGPT, it is my best friend. So I do use that to prepare for these sorts of things. I would say, since we're talking about getting a CIO meeting or that sort of thing, which I do think is a pretty important topic, because right now you really do have to, we were talking about this at the table, you have to get to the decision makers. The folks in between right now definitely are not getting stuff done. And to get to that person, you get 20 minutes, you take introductions out, you got 15. And everybody's got great tech now. So like, rule that out. That's a table stake. Everyone should have a path to FedRAMP, IL4, IL5, like table stake. Like, these are not things I would talk about in an initial meeting, to be candid. I think what you want to do is figure out a pain point and tell them how you can solve it. It's that simple. And then map that back to cost reduction, not value, cost reduction. Value selling right now, it's still, look, it can be section B in your deck. I don't think it's section A in your deck, to be candid. Like, the days of like, this would be awesome if we had that money. Like, I wouldn't be going after it like that. I would be going, you spend this much on this right now. If you implement this, you solve this pain point, you'll spend this much tomorrow. And have those facts. That will catch a CIO's attention. It doesn't even have to be the sexiest tech, to be candid. Like, if you're solving an efficiency problem, specific pain point that maps to something you've researched on their behalf, it'll cost them less, and you can prove that, they will take a second meeting.
Hi, my name is Phil Carroll. I'm with Carahsoft as well. So you spoke about focusing on the pain points that the customers have and kind of leaning into that as the conversation. I've noticed a fairly consistent problem where the left hand's not talking to the right hand, in particular at the government. So maybe you've identified a pain point, but then you finally get to that leader and they go, we don't have a problem with that. how do you kind of bridge that gap while you're still building the relationship to kind of prove like, I know your own agency better than you, and I've been talking to your people, and this is a pain point that you need to address? How do you guys kind of go about that and really start bridging the gap on pain point, ignorance within the same agency?
I think it was off. There's a few different things in that are tricky, right? Because, well, number one, I think the best reps do make the connections within the agency. Like, that is something we do.
Julie, bring the mic a little closer.
A little closer. All right, this one's harder.
Yeah,
Huh?
let's
This
take
one's
that one
tougher.
off.
Oh, okay. This one's super awkward.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to do that one. All right, this is better. So yeah, I look, in short, I'm gonna ask the folks that are bringing the pain points to me if they will sponsor with me to bring it to the folks that matter, because I got to bring it to that person you're talking about that doesn't understand or doesn't know. But I don't want to also roll the other team under the bus that I brought that to them without them knowing. So you sort of have to, you have to just get them on your team and on your side. Like, is this a big enough problem that you want to go solve it? Yes? Okay. Well, then you and we need to go take this and solve it together with said individual. Because I think the main thing you're asking that question is hand A doesn't know that there's a problem over with team B. You can connect those dots, but just do it carefully, because you might be burning a bridge if you don't do it with them.